Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Dr. Issues is a psychiatrist, but he is not your psychiatrist and does not have knowledge of your individual situation. For any personal mental health concerns, please consult your own healthcare providers. For medical emergencies, please call 911 or the designated number in your area immediately. Remember that you are not alone and help is out there.
Hello and welcome to Capes on the Couch, where comics get counseling. I'm Anthony Sitko.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
This is issue 100, our 100th episode. Our
That's
100th
amazing.
regular episode, which does not include all of the Mental Health Avengers, because I'm including that as like a separate timeline that's like an alternate universe. that's like ultimate Capes on the Couch. It doesn't impact the 616.
Nice.
Where that's Earth 2.
All right.
You know, so that's an alternate timeline, Capes on the Couch. But 100 episodes, like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I mean, I remember back in my old townhouse when we were sitting up in that cramped ass office, and we must have recorded the Eddie Brock episode, I think 3 times we recorded it? At least twice. At least twice that I know of.
No, it was definitely 3 times, because the first one was purely off the cuff. The second one was a little more
structured.
Structured. That's the best word for it. And then you sent me the audio where I'm like, oh, this is horrible. And we did it a third time to get the audio right.
That's right. Yeah. So the third one was basically just like a remake of the second take, but with better quality. So it's just, again, the fact that we started off just like, hey, let's do a podcast. Sure, why not? Yeah. And then, like, here we are.
Well, let's go ahead. If we're going to dive, let's dive. So the original thing was, all right, so let's do a panel at Comic-Con and see what traction we get. We got none. Then it was, well, let's do a book. Yep. And I realized even at that time, and definitely it's been cemented now, like, yeah, I'm too lazy for a book. At least not if we wanted to get something out in a reasonable amount of time. And so the third thing, because I listened to podcasts, I don't even know if you did at the time.
I did not.
Right.
Podcasts,
so I said,
I was like, I'm a music guy. I can't listen to people talking for an hour.
And I pointed out
that?
Right. So I pointed out, wait a minute, you're a radio guy though, and you definitely can talk. And although I'll admit I am a private person,
he can talk. I can sing.
Thank you, Dr. Zayas. So the point is, we still have this banter amongst us that maybe would be beneficial, and we could talk about these things in a sophisticated way.
Amongst
and still
implies
have fun.
There's more than you and I. I would say it's betwixt us.
Nice.
I just wanted to find a way to just shoehorn in betwixt. I think
which is something that has been said over and over again. Even if you don't get anything related to mental health, so many people have said that you and I, the combination of us, are the equivalent of a thesaurus. And yet I know both of us know people that are way more eloquent with their speech than we are. So that says something about the people that we've hung out with in our lifetimes.
Yeah, we know a lot of dumbasses then.
Ouch! Ouch! Oof!
Oh, shots fired already. And you're the one who's been drinking, not me.
Oof! Lordy. And by the way, it was one drink. I want to make sure I'm being responsible. This is a dinner discussion, people.
Right. One drink that your wife made.
Yes.
With a very heavy hand.
My wife has very dainty hand. Well, has one dainty hand because of her cerebral palsy. But the point is, as you can tell, folks, we are definitely using the Ask Me Anything part to open up. No, really, I would be saying these exact same things regardless of whether or not there was any alcohol involved. And that's the point of this podcast. At no point have either one of us been to the point where we were impaired or anything of the sort. It was more like we definitely shoot from the hip at times. We definitely have things we want to get across. And I think we've accomplished that so far. It's been 100 episodes, and someday we'll get it right.
Will we, though? Will we really? I think the fun is in getting it wrong. I think the fun is in the exploration. I don't ever want to get to a point where I go, okay, that's it. Like, we've perfected this setup. We've done everything we can. We've done is the best that we can. I don't ever want to get to that point because to me, and maybe this is just, how I am, the fun is in the trying. The fun is in the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey and getting to do these 100 episodes with my best friend that I've known for over 25 years at this point. Like getting to do this with you is the fun part. Yeah. And the fact that it's taken off as much as it has, I think is just astounding and something that I never could have dreamed. The amount of downloads that we've received and the connections that we've made. We're going to get into that. I think throughout the show, we'll break it up and we'll throw in a little couple of things. But let's start off. Let's start off. You mentioned the AMA part of it. Thank you to everybody who voted and who submitted your questions. Unfortunately, nobody signed their names to these questions, so I don't know who asked them. So shout it out if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube right now. I know Chad from P3 Show is watching us right now. I think we've got a couple folks also watching on Facebook and maybe one or two listening on Discord. So if we ask your question, shout us out while we're recording live and we'll certainly give you the appropriate kudos. But the first question let's go to is, what is the one thing you would want on a billboard that everyone would need to know? I don't know who asked this question.
Okay. Now, so I know the reasoning behind it though, because that is a classic Tim Ferriss question. So whoever listens to one of those heady podcasts like his, kudos to you, because that basically means you put us in that level. That's really cool. I don't know who asked either, but that's wow. Holy crap. I'm sorry, you were gonna go.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if that's a question directed to us as individuals or to us as like the show, because I could answer it either way. Am I thinking like
it's our show, man? We can answer it any way we want.
Well, then if I'm putting it on a billboard, I want you to know what the website is. It's capesandthecouch.live. like go here. Okay. Go to this site. Download our episodes. Yeah. Go to our Patreon. Subscribe.
Right. Okay. All right. So I definitely
I've actually pondered getting us a billboard, or I've also looked into I've also looked into the cost and feasibility of getting us advertising in a comic book, because that is like dirt cheap at this point.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
So
okay.
Spoiler alert, we can afford it.
Oh,
I'll just put it that way.
Okay. So to answer that, oh boy, I don't know. All right, billboard. All right, if it's something that I think actually is beneficial, I think some variation of this. Oh boy, I really try to think of the proper words, but just there's always an opportunity to make yourself smile. Or actually, I think something a little better. If you can read this, then you can make your life better. I know it's a little heady. I like being esoteric like that with something on a billboard, because the whole point is, if you can't read it, then first learn to read, because your life will greatly improve that way. But then if you can read it, that's the whole point. You have the opportunity, be it books, be it, anything that you were considering, to find the next step in whatever it is that you want to do in life. So just kind of just a very general motivational thing, because I don't want it to be super touchy on one subject or anything like that. I wanted to just kind of uplift people, I guess. I don't know. I haven't put that much. This really is on this, on the spot. I don't know what else, but something like that.
I think for me personally, this is both. There's some sentiment behind it, but also knowing me, you're not entirely going to be surprised. I would put Will Wheaton's law: "Don't be a dick."
Yeah, that's fine. Makes sense.
Like when it comes down to it, don't be a dick. Think about what you're doing. Think about how you interact with people. Think about the impact that your words and actions have on other people. And then act accordingly. Act in a way that is going to make people go, I like him. I respect him. I may not agree with him or her, but I respect them.
Okay.
So, and Will Wheaton is somebody that, I would love to get on the show. I know I talked a while back about, in the Discord or something, about contacting a big giant name to try to get them on to talk about baby doll from the Batman animated series, and it was Will Wheaton. I contacted, I haven't heard anything back, but I think Will Wheaton would make a fabulous guest on this show. First off, just for his candor about speaking with his struggles with mental health. And also, I would love for him to talk about Baby Doll as a former child actor who managed to successfully transition into more serious fare while also dealing with all of the struggles therein. I just think that Will Wheaton would have such a fascinating and unique insight to talk about Baby Doll that I think that would make for an absolutely killer episode. And he is, I don't know that he's ever going to hear this or know about it, but, maybe we could get a hashtag trending. I would say get a hashtag trending, but he's not on Twitter. And all right. Chad from P3 says, if you can read this, it's probably because comics.
Nice.
Well done, Chad. So, and like I said, if it was the show, I would just, have our website up on it.
Yeah, that's a real basic answer. Yeah.
So then let's transition then from the AMA question to one of the many, many award nominees. Again, thank you to everybody who went to our website and voted. We had a variety, 13 categories. So I know it was quite a bit. So let's start off with favorite thematic episode. We're going to jump around a little bit because I want to save like favorite episode overall. You know how the Academy Awards always end with like a best picture? Well, that we're going to end with favorite episode overall. But we'll lead up to this. So this is like a best, I don't know, supporting actor or something like that, they always lead off with one of the semi big ones. So favorite thematic episode, and the nominees were Support Systems and Comics, Capes in Court, Magneto and Xavier, Mental Health Avengers Age of Access Part 2, and Psychiatry in Comics. And the winner is Capes in Court.
Nice.
So I'm very proud of that episode because as we said when we recorded, it was a rare opportunity for us to do a little bit of a role reversal, and for Doc to play the expert, or for me to play the expert, and for Doc to ask the questions and to sort of lead the discussion. Yeah,
and I definitely enjoyed it, but I mean that's something that you can use to boost your ego for sure. That
ego was last episode.
Womp womp. So the thing that I remember the most about that is, in hindsight, I agreed with all the things that you were pointing out from a planning, legal, blah, blah, blah situation. But because I have this alternative part to my brain about financial planning, estate planning is actually very important in that too. So there were some things that you were talking about. I'm like, oh my gosh, this directly relates to so many things that I'm learning about whenever I get to my second career. And I'm like, oh, maybe we can really explore this later on. And then I thought later on, like, I wonder if we could ever get other episodes with other occupations or things like that as guest episodes. I never brought this up, but I figured the 100th episode would be an opportunity. Like, just opportunities to branch out.
All right. Well, hey, if you're listening to this and you'd like to hear us branch out into some sort of different kind of bullshit, I don't know what, whatever kind of alternate levels of discussions, sound off. Let us know if that's something you would be interested in. I don't know. Again, we said at the top, like I said, I don't ever want to get this right. I don't ever want to get it to be a situation where, okay, we've perfected the formula. Like I'm constantly trying to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. Yeah. So I've got, which I suppose is one of the other questions that we were asked. Any hints you can give us on what is next for Capes on the Couch? So I would say, I guess this is the first time, and it's a good time as any to tell you, we will be taking a short hiatus between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Doc and I have been going nonstop with this show for season 4, quote unquote, such as it is, for almost a year at this point. And it's a lot, especially with COVID and everything. It's a lot to take on. And we typically take off like late December, but just with everything going on. Oh, that's my question, says Ruby. So Well, great question, Ruby. So yeah, we're going to take a hiatus between basically Thanksgiving and New Year's, and we'll come back, in early January. So
Yeah.
We're hoping that you all can take time to, be with your families, enjoy the holidays, whatever manner of holiday you choose to celebrate. Enjoy that time. Doc and I will certainly do that. And we will come back in January, with some new ideas, some new episode type formats.
Yeah.
I know that one of the things we're talking about is an overhaul to the website. I'm hoping that we can get that done over the break, over the hiatus, that we can overhaul the website. I would like basically to redirect everything to capesonthecouch.com because we have that domain name. And I would like to see, maybe something with WordPress where it's more than just a running tally of the episodes, where you can do a keyword search. Maybe we can get a blog up. We can do some more stuff. Of course, that also involves me pulling copious amounts of time that I do not possess out of my ass. But I know. And
so just to add to that, because I'm sure people may want to know, or if you don't want to know, I don't care, because I'm going to get it off my chest anyway. I have recently been looking at my work schedule, especially post-COVID, to see what's been going on. So my average, not including the podcast, my average work week has been if you include being on call and having to be called in from time to time when I'm servicing our hospital, it's averaged about a little over 60 hours a week. So from that standpoint, with the minimum being that I'm working to be blunt, I get one weekend off a month, almost guaranteed. And there was a stretch of time where that was not guaranteed. So there have been many times, just about every weekend, honestly, I've been working, and Anthony has been so kind and patient to allow me to record with him at nights like this, although it does work with his son's sleep schedule as well, to record these episodes each weekend. And I appreciate the fact that anybody that's listening to this at the time. So combining that and everything, I think, this break, which we usually take anyway, is definitely something that I know is needed. And just because it's a break from the podcast doesn't mean it's a break from servicing people with mental health. I'm not going on some lavish vacation or anything like that. I'm going to be still doing my job. So, I appreciate everyone's understanding. Thank you for your patience. And, I want to make sure, along with Anthony, of course, we want to make sure that we are doing this from the proper mindset. So thank you for anyone for understanding. If at any point you've thought I've either been tired or exhausted or I didn't know what the heck I was doing, if that's the case, then that's not an excuse, but it is a reason.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of this is just, and I've said this before, I love the show. I love doing the show. I love interacting with the fans. I'm sure everybody knows that. It comes as no surprise. Certainly, I'm the one who handles all the social media. I'm the one who handles basically anything involving the show, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. It's all me. And it's a load of fun, but it is also a load of work. And so I am looking forward to just a brief respite. We've been going 90 miles an hour for nigh on a year at this point, and it'll be nice to just take a breather. We're not going to be completely silent, and I'll still certainly be talking to folks on Discord and in our Facebook group and so on. And planning things for when we return. Maybe we'll do something for the patrons, just like a short little thing. But it will be nice to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And there is one other thing that I want to mention that is none of this is official, and this is like pipe dream stuff. So one of the people that is a big fan of us also works in the marketing department for my hospital, for my organization. She continues to run ideas by me. But the other part of this is I'm now getting tapped within my own organization to do things such as speaking engagements, as well as just this week, I had to give kind of one of those soundbite quotes for a New Jersey magazine using my real name, not Doc Issues. So the point is, right now, they're really tapping that, and they say, it seems like you have a natural way of handling media. And I did hint at, even in that conversation, like, well, actually, at this point, this is something that I do on a regular basis, and it's more on the hobby level than on the full-scale production level. And the lines are starting to get a little blurred. They're not revealed, but they're getting just that little twinge where I may have to start saying more about this and using it to my advantage, as well as hopefully helping other people. This would be way different. If I had a private practice, there's no question I'd be using my real name by this point. But I have an obligation to my organization. I don't want to just automatically put burdens on them to make sure that I'm meeting certain compliance notions. Not that anything that I've ever said has been insulting to them or would bring anything negative to my employer, but at the same time, I do like the idea that I have this separate part of my life, not much different than most comic book characters. But having said that, the lines are starting to get a little blurred. And the fact that they're starting to tap me for that, I'm wondering if there's a way to make that work. So in the year to come, we'll see how that goes. I haven't officially talked to this person about this particular part, mainly because from a legal aspect, I do not want my employer to have any control whatsoever. This is Anthony and ours baby, and we want to make sure that we're raising it right.
Yep. In fact, we had discussions earlier this year with a network, the podcast network. It's months later. I'm not going to name names, but we had discussions with the podcast network, and we ultimately backed out because we heard some things that they like to take a little too much control, and it was a situation where Doc and I did not feel comfortable with the way that things were being presented to us. So we said, no. And also the other thing is that they would have put advertising in the show. And I was a little hesitant about that. Yes, the money certainly would have been all well and good, but you folks have come to hear and expect that any bumpers that we play for other shows are because we like those shows. We support those shows. There's no advertising. If you're supporting the show on Patreon, we are incredibly grateful. And I'm going to get to thanking all of our patrons, momentarily. But we don't ever want it to be a situation where you have to sit through or, fast forward. Because let's be real here. Nobody actually listens to the advertisements for, Indeed or Purple Mattress or any of the other umpteen advertisements that you hear on all the other podcasts that are ad supported. And it's no knock against any of the shows that are ad supported. It's just for us, we like having and retaining that level of control. That's mostly me. I'm a control freak, and I'll be the first to admit that. With something
like this, I'm one of those people that if I were pushed too far, I would say, let's just burn this to the ground. But we're not at that point. So, hey.
We're not at that point, and we don't anticipate getting on to that point.
Exactly.
Janine on Facebook says, you guys need an intern, I think, regarding the social media. Do you want to do it? Listen, if we could pay somebody, a couple bucks a month or a couple dollars a week to handle all the social media.
I'll create that slush fund. Let's get that rolling.
At least Instagram, I don't mind. I love being on Twitter. Instagram, though, I don't know that. I can't deal with that. There's like a whole algorithm and stuff. I can't be bothered with that. Andy on Discord said you could work the ads into the skit, have the couch and dock issues be a purple mattress.
Nice.
I love it. All right, let's do another award. Favorite Dr. Issues pun. And the nominees are, you don't have to be a dick to give yourself some grace, son. I'm just glad. Wait a sec. I'm just glad I didn't have to be derivative, because if you're not willing to deal with the prime adversity in life, then you won't be able to function. That's from Superboy Prime. You got calculus on our ass. I know my calculus. Every woman at some point in her life deserves to be a queen, because sometimes you have to let your hair down. That's Medusa.
Yeah.
I need to read those comics with Daredevil because it's the blind leading the blind from the Reader episode. And Don't Tempt the Devil, but Dare to Be Great from Daredevil. And the winner is, you don't have to be a dick to give yourself some grace, son.
Okay, I think part of the reason that won is because I actually laughed as I was saying it. I thought it was so funny. But my personal opinion, I'm sorry. When I break out calculus, come on. That's some sophisticated stuff right there.
I know my calculus. It says you plus me equals us.
I'm pretty sure the last time
you plus me equals us. Yes, I remember even the arm movements from Together. And we are definitely dating ourselves, because nobody under the age of 20 even remembers that shit.
Right. Well, I can honestly say the last time I ever even considered calculus was in college. So
Same.
I'm not going to say I've used it for anything, but I still, oh man, I still credit some of those types of courses or even the high school classes to how our brains work. I really do. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm grateful for the education that I've had, not just as a doctor, but overall as a human being. I went to a liberal arts college, and I'm glad I had different exposure to so many different topics from the, from the science end and from the literature, history. I took a couple jazz classes, people. So puns, I feel like are the type of thing that allow for humor in addition to once in a while getting someone to think about something they wouldn't otherwise. So the idea that the audience chose that one, thank you so much. Anyone that you have chosen would have been great. But that one in particular, like I said, in the moment, I was like, okay, I made myself laugh. And that's all I care about. No offense to any of you.
Listen, we know that's why you do the puns. So we'll do another question. Have you ever considered diagnosing a transformer?
Not until now. Okay, so
as somebody who grew up with the mythos, and I mean, I literally have an Optimus Prime, an OG Optimus Prime.
I mean, wait a minute,
sitting
hold
on my desk.
We're talking about the ultimate refugees, in addition to power dynamics, to massive cultural changes, hierarchies. You see, that's the thing. People may say, like, well, are they living beings? Well, I would classify them as that. They're sentient. That's really all you need. So, yeah, sure. I don't know what diagnosis I would give on the spot. I don't know. I mean, are we talking Megatron? I mean, then you can shoehorn him in with plenty of characters that we've done. If we're talking about, I mean, see, we've had this discussion before. I feel like if I ever had to do like a persona as a character in some sort of any sort of fictional thing or in wrestling, especially, I'd love to be Starscream.
Yes, we know. We've had that discussion about your wrestling persona. Absolutely, the Starscream.
Yeah, and if we're talking about...
You should turn that into like an RPG, do like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. Right. Shout out to Seth for getting me hooked on D&D.
Yeah, hey. And if we're talking about Rodimus Prime, I'd be the first psychiatrist to advocate for euthanasia. So there you go. I went there. Oh, gosh. The worst mistake that they ever made with that franchise. I'm sorry. That was the dumbest thing. Let him die. Fine. Go with it. There's so many better things you could have done. I'm sorry.
Yeah. God, Rod. So, yes, we would consider diagnosing a transformer, I think is the takeaway from that. Let's do another fun category. Worst vocal performance. And the nominees are Talia al Ghul, Harley Quinn, the Stepford Cuckoos, Constantine, and Thanos. And the winner is Talia al Ghul. Absolutely, without question, that was my pick for the worst voice. I don't know what the hell that was supposed to be. I don't know what it was. Frankly, if I were Ariel, who picked that episode and is like the biggest Talia stan on the planet, and she's a present level patron, and she pays $10 a month for that shit. And I shit on her favorite character with that voice. Oh. And if I were Ariel, I would have pulled my money and said, forget these guys.
Don't say that. Don't say that out loud.
Listen, she and I were tweeting at each other the other night at like 11:30 because I happen to still be awake and she's awake retweeting, comic book recommendations. And we had a discussion about the Bat Family. I adore Ariel. She knows we love her. I can say that. I could say, I'm sorry for what we did to your beloved queen.
Yeah, that was my pick as well. So once again, since this is this type of episode, usually the only time I get to really re-listen to anything that we've done is when I'm in the car with my daughter. So that's how I hear all of these. And when I heard the Talia episode, I already had an idea of how it may sound. And I thought to myself, oh man, I really hope this isn't the first time someone hears a skit. Not necessarily because the content was bad, but only because they would think that we're trying to bastardize and just, I don't know what to say.
The characters, yeah. That was not the intent. I don't know to this day. I don't know what the thought process was between my brain and my mouth that made the words come out with that sound of I can't even describe what that accent was supposed to be.
It's all right. It's all right. We definitely forgive you, and you definitely
Harley was like I was nasally pitched it. Get it?
No, that was intentional.
Harley was intentionally. That was supposed to sound Mr. J and all that nasalness,
that's
whatever.
Fine. No,
if I didn't hit the mark, so be it.
Every other character on that list, I think that's the point. Every other character on that list, even if it was quote unquote bad, it was intentional in terms of what you knew you were hearing. And you could understand the reasoning behind it. Talia was the only one where I said to myself, like, I don't know what we were going for there.
I don't know what I was going for either.
All right. So anyway, moving on.
God you choose to believe and have mercy on my soul for that.
This is no. This is a positive episode. We're gonna keep it light.
Yes,
we're gonna keep it positive.
I didn't know what the I was doing with that.
Okay.
I'm positive that was shit. That's what that was.
All right. Next, move it up.
Another question. What are you currently reading or watching? Does it come recommended? I think this is also in Ruby's another one of Ruby's questions because she threw a couple at us. As far as comics, I just finished Hawkeye Freefall, which had been delayed because of COVID. I have not been to my local comic shop in a while. I know I've got a massive stack waiting for me. Hopefully I can get there tomorrow at some point, maybe before or after I go to Doc's daughter's communion luncheon. I'm reading the Firefly series. I think it's Boom Studios by Greg Pak, which I am a brown coat for whatever respect or disrespect that you choose to heap on us. I got into that because of my ex-girlfriend. Thank you, Janet. It's the only good thing to come out of that relationship. And it's fantastic. The art, and I've said this before, the art I'm not crazy about, but at this point I'm so invested in the story, and Greg Pak just gets the characters, and it's just he nails their voices very, very well. I'm also reading long form A Once Crowded Sky by Tom King. And I would love to get him on the show. I think I tweeted like last week, like who would be your ideal guest on the show? And I was like, Tom King, because he's got such a long, he's got such a long list of characters that we could absolutely just cover. His Rorschach just came out this week. So I may pick that up. I'm not really sure yet. I'll go through and, see if I can flip through it. But that's sort of what I'm reading, watching. I know my wife is binging Lucifer on Netflix. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. American Ninja Warrior. We just finished season 2 of The Boys on Amazon Prime, which I thoroughly enjoy because I think it's way more nuanced and 3-dimensional than the book. If you are a patron, you heard our review of the trade paperback, and you know that we kind of shit on it because it's a very depressing read, as is most anything Garth Ennis writes. And it was just very nihilistic for the sake of nihilism, and it wasn't anything that I was particularly interested in. But the show gives the characters depth, so I would say that. And I do want to also start watching The Umbrella Academy and Lock and Key because I want to support adaptations. So that's a long-winded way of saying I'm reading and watching quite a bit of stuff.
All right, so time to bring things down a little bit. So I'll admit, other than the trade reviews that we're doing, I don't get a chance. Let me take that back. It's not fair to ever say don't get a chance. Every decision that a person makes is their decision. So I am not currently intentionally reading many comics right now other than the trades that we're doing, only because I'm prioritizing certain things in terms of time, specifically whatever my daughter wants to do. Usually it's related to certain TV or something online. Either I introduce it or she introduces it and we talk about it. So what I've been watching religiously has been sports. I once
and
the
major
sport. Would you wait? I'm getting there.
Okay.
So the NBA just finished its season. Right now I'm watching football and baseball. So that's where my TV time goes, if any. And it's usually on in the background because I can't watch a full baseball game throughout. But in terms of what I'm reading, I am reading. I'm just not reading a lot of comics right now. I'm much more into nonfiction in terms of my downtime. So once again, nerd alert. The book I'm reading currently is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. He's a sort of financial expert. But here's the thing. He is a very intelligent human being that gets much more on the level of why human beings it's behavioral economics, which kind of ties in with my two main professional things that I'm always interested in. So I'm like, all right, let me pick this up. And so far, it's definitely been worth it. You don't have to be a financial expert to read it. It's actually pretty darn good to explain why we do what we do, what the issue is with debt, why we don't invest, more than what we do, and all the decisions we make. And if you're ever interested, it's a great read. If you're not interested, then pretend I didn't say anything. But then the total entertainment value that I think is the best show in the world right now is DuckTales. I'm not saying that sarcastically at all. My daughter and I watch it religiously.
Same.
It's amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And like the Halloween episode so far is my favorite of this current run. I don't want to even say what's in it. It's just, it's just, I'll just say this. If you know who Launchpad is as a character, this is the thing that should introduce a new person to Launchpad, because it is so genuinely naive, genuinely idiotic, and yet so endearing. I love everything that they've done with
it's a sacred text. Monosodium glutamate. Polysorbates. Blue number 5. I love Del as a character, and I've said this before. I sing Del's lullaby to my son every time I put him down for a nap or I put him down to sleep. DuckTales is just the thought and the characterization and the growth and the development and the foreshadowing and just the callbacks to the show. It's just, it is way more brilliant than any childhood show, and also reboot of cash in on an IP. Like, it has no right being this good. It has no claim to being this good of a show. And it is just absolutely amazing. Janine says the boys in Umbrella Academy are amazing. So I will definitely check out Umbrella Academy. Go DuckTales. Woo. Another question. What character do you really want to do, but the mythos is either too vast or too small?
So
I would say vastness isn't a concern for us.
Yeah, we've already done some pretty huge ones.
We've done Captain America. We've done characters that have existed for 70 years. So the size of the mythos isn't a concern. But too small, I mean, that would have to be a character that's like in, Reader's only been in like maybe a dozen, maybe 24 issues.
Yeah. So to take advantage of proper marketing, I think you could say that there is no character too great or too small that we wouldn't be willing to cover. But that BS aside,
there's no case too big, no case too small.
Nice.
And you need help.
Yep. Nice. But no, there's one that is always lurking in the shadows that we haven't done, and yet do every character around that particular character. And it's partly because of his influence on every single character that we just, for some strange reason, we have not done. And that, you know what? In all honesty, I feel like that's a hidden secret. No, it's an open secret. I apologize. It's an open secret. Like, why we haven't done this character yet. And
this is Chad's question, by the way. And he also says that he demands a DuckTales character episode for Patreon.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Of course. But you know what? Just to run along with it, I'm not even going to say the character's name. Not going to say it. It's even because I think it's even funnier that way. But you know who I'm talking about.
Ben Stover is listening to this episode going, no!
Exactly.
He's listening to this part right now.
Yep.
Say it.
Yep. That's right. We have not done the Gray Ghost yet. No, you know what I'm talking about. But I think that's partly the point. But I have a specific reason that I haven't even discussed with Anthony, because there have been books written about him. There have been psychologists that have done that character ad infinitum.
Travis, what's his name? Yeah.
So I feel like if we're going to do that, I feel like we really need to make that an extravaganza, almost like a multi-episode kind of thing, and get people that have explored that character and get them on the show rather than just us doing it like as a cold call. That's my opinion. So part of it,
let's do that then. If we're going to, because yes, you're right. If we're going to do this character, it can't just be an hour. It can't even be an hour and a half episode. This is going to require like extensive breakdowns, and we're going to have to really plot out multiple episodes around this particular character. So
yeah, that's my opinion. And although I don't think I've ever said it out loud in the podcast itself, that particular character, I would say, if we're going to lump it into that category, that would be the reason.
So, yeah, I don't know that there's another character that, that we would say, oh, I don't really want to cover them because they're too big or too small. Although I am waiting for Ariel to get around Ariel to get around to finally saying, okay, she's hit everybody else around them. Like it's circling the drain at this point. We're going to get into Duke Brown, I think is, at this point, like there's so few characters left.
Oh, come on. Oh, please. Commissioner Gordon, Barbara Gordon. Come on. No.
Yeah, that's right. We haven't done Babs yet. We haven't done Stephanie Brown. We always make the joke we forget about Stephanie Brown because everybody does. Andy suggests a 5-part crossover event. I mean, hey. Yeah. Listen, I know if we call up Ben will be on that shit like...
Oh, heck yeah.
Shit on Velcro.
As a matter of fact, I know someone that is so into comics that's a staff worker at my hospital. I mean, when she opens the door to her car, there's a light that comes down and lights up with the logo. So I got some peeps that even if we can't get other big name players, like, I'll find a way to get other people involved. Don't worry.
And I think we could even do one part of the crossover about this character's impact on, like what it is that attracts them to people, like why do you love this character so much and, discuss the mythos around that. So, okay. All right. Hey, listen, that's something maybe for 2021, once we get out of this show of a year that we're in. You haven't scraped the bottom of the barrel until you analyze El Sombrero. And I love El Sombrero. I don't even know who El Sombrero is.
That's, okay.
That's that Andy on Discord. Thank you, Andy, for that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
All right. Let's go then to favorite DC episode. We'll go back to another award. Favorite DC episode. And the nominees are Talia al Ghul, Mr. Miracle, Rorschach, Roy Harper, and Oliver Queen. And the winner is Roy Harper, which was...
Really? Really? That's shocking. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh,
no.
Man. Oh, man. That was pretty good.
That one, we talk about that one all the time. I think from an emotional depth standpoint, I would put that up. Like if I had to demonstrate our show to somebody and say like, this is what the show can be. I would make them listen to the Roy Harper episode and say, this is what we're capable of.
Yeah. Because I don't have anything to add. That's it.
Writing and recording that episode drained us emotionally, physically, spiritually. That one was just, God, I love that one. I still go back and listen to it on occasion.
Yeah. And to be honest, I don't want to speak for Anthony. I'll just say on my end, like that's not what I anticipated the show initially to be, that particular episode. But as we were writing it, it definitely started to take shape, and we realized we've got something pretty powerful here. So yeah.
So let's jump to another question then. Besides there's another Ruby question. Besides Moon Knight, what comic book characters are you all finally excited to see make an appearance on the big screen? She-Hulk, who may or may not be Tatiana Maslany now, because she's like, oh no, I'm not She-Hulk. That was a press release comeback. Kamala Khan. I'm very excited for the Ms. Marvel TV series. And on the DC side, interested in some of the characters that they're bringing forth for the Suicide Squad, and the Green Lantern Corps show is one that I'm also looking forward to.
That was the one that I was going to say. That gets me the most excited. Mainly because, I feel like it's gotten short shrift over the years, and They got enough. They got enough material to work with, and can kind of ignore anything that's happened before then.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be. I'm hoping with the right amount of financial backing that they give it some good production, so it doesn't look anything like the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although I will say that the Ryan Reynolds movie is actually very tolerable if you are in a chemically altered state of mind, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, you know what saves that movie, and it's not surprising to say, Ryan Reynolds gives the impression that he'll enjoy just about anything that you put him in. And so I'm willing to go along for the ride. But just from that, everything else about that movie, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was, oof. That was rough. From what I understand, though, because I did sit through the Green Lantern. I have not watched R.I.P.D. and I don't think that I will, because that one just seems just no. So another award, and this time we'll go favorite non sequitur pop culture reference, and the nominees are Tree Fitty, Scott's a Dick, any reference to Hamilton, Leprechaun in the Hood, and I Started a Joke by the Bee Gees, and the winner is Scott's a Dick, to the surprise of absolutely no one.
Nope.
I think the number of times that we've referenced Scott's a Dick in this show is hilarious. And maybe when we come back for 2021, we'll get t-shirts made with Scott's a Dick on it.
See, now the one problem with that, of course, is that people are going to think it's a South Park reference even more so. So, I don't know.
There's only so much we can do to dissuade them of that. Andy says Tree Fitty was robbed.
Oh no, Hamilton was robbed. Oh man, come on. Now I feel like I didn't throw in enough, and there were plenty of times I thought about it and didn't.
Are you saying you threw away your shot?
Yes, I am. I definitely am.
Well, you know you're not supposed to throw away your shot.
I know.
I mean, it's literally, there's a whole song about it in the show.
I know. It's going to ruin my legacy.
How much of a Hamilton fan can you claim to be if you throw away your shot?
I know. I'm throwing away my legacy, planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. That's the problem. Wait, I'll tell you why it becomes an issue with the Hamilton references, because it's not just whether or not you can get little quips here and there. I know the entire show. I know the entire play, word for word. That makes it much more difficult, because then I'll just go on diatribes, like just naming things left and right. And people are going to be like, okay, is this a Hamilton tribute podcast, or is this Capes on the Couch?
Doc and I have sung Hamilton songs during Tough Mudders.
Oh, you know what? Since once again, this is our one opportunity for this show. So we were doing a Tough Mudder in Philly, which is very fitting. And I started singing a song, and I didn't know it as well at the time. In addition to running, it kind of addles your brain a little bit. And so we start singing the intro song, and people next to us start filling in the parts where I was struggling. And the next thing you know, I swear, it got up to maybe about 50 people, because you could hear it like for a ways. Everybody that knows it is singing the first song of Hamilton, and it is just this amazing start to an obstacle course race. That is one of the best moments. I'll say this, outside of the serious stuff, that was one of the best moments of my life. That was just amazing, mainly because I am not the type of person to get those types of things started, and the fact that Anthony and I did that is just so cool.
That was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, that was cool. Maybe we'll do it when we're doing Tough Mudder Philly this year.
Yeah.
For toughest. We've got 12 hours to kill. We might as well sing to keep ourselves occupied.
Yep.
All right. We'll go back to the awards then. Favorite humorous skit. And the nominees are The Tick, Deadpool, J. Jonah Jameson, Hawkeye, and Booster Gold. And the winner is a tie between Booster Gold and The Tick.
And to be honest, I thought those were the only two that deserved to even be nominated. So congratulations to the people saying that.
I thought all of them were very worthy nominees.
Look, we're all proud of our children, but we don't have to ignore playing favorites, okay?
For me, you say that, we could both say that as we only have one child. We could both say that because we only have one kid. So by default, my son is my favorite child. Your daughter is your favorite child. Right. When number two comes along for me, I'm going to have to, that's going to be difficult for me. But in all seriousness, my pick was The Tick. I thought that was, again, nothing against any of the other nominees. I thought they were all very hilarious. To me, though, I think The Tick just best encapsulated the character and just writing that. The fact that it only took me 15 minutes to write it, because I got it. There was the hook and I was like, all right, that's it. I think the only other one that I had as much fun writing was Deadpool, just because I knew that I could just throw, especially the fact that Deadpool just interrupted us.
Yes, that was worth it. That was worth it. Mainly because I didn't realize that's what was happening. So I kind of freaked out when the door opened.
Yeah, I had my wife say, I just said to her, all right, you're just going to just come in at some random point and just open up the door. And that's when I'll jump in and, start doing my Nolan North impression.
Yeah. So my choice was Booster Gold, mainly because I love that character anyway. And the skit, I felt, personified the parts that he clearly just keeps messing up. But at the same time, that he has this great motivation, this fantastic energy to help and just, when you strip away all of the other stuff, do the right thing. And it still came across. I felt like that epitomized a character while still getting the lovable loser part in there in a way that you didn't feel like we were just totally ragging on him. It was a tribute to him. And I really enjoyed that. And those were the two I felt that really stood out. Don't get me wrong, definitely enjoyed the others. And if we have to run this back, not have to, but when we do run this back with episode 200, I think what may come up, I may be wrong, is the one we just did with Ego. I really enjoyed that one.
That was a good one. I definitely enjoyed that one. So we'll do another award, favorite in-universe treatment. And the nominees are Maker, Reader, Joker, Jason Todd, and Laura Kinney. And the winner is the Joker. It was an early one. So early that Doc and I don't entirely remember what we suggested for universe treatment.
I'm going to be I don't remember. I really don't. I apologize, people. I swear to you. And I know Joker is one of my favorite characters ever. I really don't remember it. Oh my gosh.
That was our second episode. So that was 98 episodes ago. I don't remember what I did 98 minutes ago. Never mind 98 episodes ago, 2.5 years back.
But we're glad you did. So whoever
all of you who voted,
great.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Mailbag. Let's do a quick and fun one. I think this is the last of Ruby's questions. Christmas movies or Halloween movies?
Yes. So no, that tells you what the answer is then, right? The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I was literally just about to say, why choose? You have one that hits both.
All right. Wait. So now, you said this is going to be fun. We're gonna do the whole breaking the internet thing. So my favorite Christmas movie is
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
My favorite Christmas movie is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original animated. There is no other version. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. Jim Carrey and Benedict Cumberbatch were never in Grinch movies. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. They were bastardizations. It's the Grinch. I will accept Halloween is Grinch night and the Grinch is the Cat in the Hat, but that's it. Those are the only other versions of the Grinch I will permit.
All right. To go along with just combining things, anything involving Peanuts, Charlie Brown, I'm sorry that you went through what you went through. And I'm glad that you have people that even though they do mock you many times, it's clear that they're willing to support you. All right. So I don't care if it's the Great Pumpkin. I don't care, which I know was a Linus thing, but my point stands with Charlie Brown as a whole. So I don't care if it was that. It's Christmas, whatever. Thanksgiving. Hey, you're a good kid.
No, you're a good man, Charlie Brown. And I can say that because I was in the show. I was in,
good point.
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown in high school.
Yeah.
I was Pigpen. And if you find yourself saying, But Anthony, Pigpen wasn't in the show. Yeah, they wrote additional stuff because the cast is like the size of 6. And they were like, we need more than 6 kids to do this high school production. So I was Pigpen. You're welcome.
Yeah. So for Halloween itself, the Halloween movies, I'm about to get roasted. Never really cared. So that didn't matter. So the Halloween series of movies didn't matter to me.
No. See, I don't think you're going to get roasted nearly as much as I am for the statement I'm about to make.
No.
Halloween as a holiday sucks.
You've said it before, though, so that's not a surprise.
But I'm saying, just in terms of roast worthiness, I don't think you're going to get nearly as much flack for on the Halloween movies as I am for on Halloween as a holiday.
Well, let's keep going with these tangents. I'm disappointed with myself because I got a haircut a little while ago, but it had been 6 months since I had a haircut. And it was at the point, especially when I picked it out a little bit, and I probably would have gotten the tips relaxed just enough that what I should have done is I should have let it grow until Halloween. I should have put a specific white streak in it, and I should have been Mr. Glass. And I'm sorry that I missed that opportunity.
Oh, yeah. That would have been cool.
I'm really disappointed in myself that I couldn't hold out, but I needed to get a haircut. I just felt
so.
So be it.
Yeah, and my wife loves Halloween because my wife is basic when it comes to fall. So she's, with the pumpkin spice and the sweaters all that stuff. Yes. And she's like, no, Halloween, we have to dress up for Halloween. We have to go trick-or-treating. We have to take Theo trick-or-treating. I was like, I will buy him candy. First off, he's 18 months. He can barely walk, down to the corner. He just sort of, toddles along. And I was like, so we're going to have to carry him every friggin' where. And also we're going to spend all this money to dress up and then get all this candy that he's not even going to be able to eat. So that I'm going to end up eating, which I don't need the calories. When he gets older, if he wants the candy, just say, hey, Dad, can I have some candy? Sure. Let's go to CVS. Let's go to Rite Aid. I'll buy you the candy and you can sit there and you can rot your teeth out. I'm not going to spend $40 on a costume so you can go around town and you can get a bunch of junk that you don't need.
Well,
Sorry.
That's not as fun as trying to avoid razor blades. Okay, yeah, so I just kind of put a kibosh on that entire discussion. So, moving on.
My brain tried to think of like 2 divergent jokes to make at the same time, and instead I just froze. Janine said Chuck Jones was a genius. Goddamn right he was.
Amen.
And so is Thurl Ravenscroft, the voice of Tony the Tiger, the singing voice of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Yeah. Let's do another award. Favorite Marvel episode. We didn't do favorite Marvel episode yet, did we? No, we didn't. Okay. And the nominees are Nadia Van Dyne, the Jeremy Whitley interview, Jessica Jones, Sentry, Hank Pym, and Kingpin. And the winner is a tie between Hank Pym and Jessica Jones.
That's not very surprising. Although I will say my favorite actually was the interview with Jeremy. Mainly because it was early on in terms of our interviews. And I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. And it was. I mean, it really
that was our first interview.
Yeah. So
our
that
first
still holds a special
interview.
Yeah, that still holds a special place in my heart. I can definitely understand though why the others were chosen. And they were great. I do remember those actually. And yeah.
My pick was Kingpin. Cool. I just thought that from just a character standpoint, it was a lot of fun to write, a lot of fun to perform. And I really enjoyed getting in the mindset of the Vincent D'Onofrio version. Definitely. Obviously, right. That was, at this point now, he's the definitive take on the character.
Yeah. And also to pad your self-esteem more, the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio retweeted our episodes. Not that one. He retweeted the Hulk episode.
Yes, he did. He retweeted
which was
the Hulk.
One of those like, wait a minute. In order to do that, that would mean that you picked something else to listen to, like, which is still cool, I guess,
All right, because we're running low on the questions. So let's do another award then. Favorite non-Big Two episode. And the nominees are Ape Sapien, Raphael, The Tick, Casey Jones, and The Governor. And the winner is The Tick.
That's easy.
Yeah. Again, I said earlier, The Tick was just a blast to write, a blast to perform. So kudos on everybody for picking that one. That was my pick as well. Although I did really enjoy Abe Sapien. And The governor was also fun. Nobody voted for the governor. We will get back to the Walking Dead universe at one point. I still have the stack of omnibuses over here to finish reading because we did the governor and we did Negan. And we never got around to Rick.
That's okay. No one ever gets around to Rick.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Rick, I love you, which is something that you needed to hear more often.
Gosh, I probably should have marked these off while I was going through them so I know which ones we've covered already. Best vocal performance. And the nominees are Colossus, Joker, Rorschach, Mr. Freeze, and the Governor. And the winner is, by a landslide, Colossus.
Yeah.
Which would not have been my pick. You and I were discussing this before the episode. Would not have been my pick. In fact, it was not my vote. My vote was for the Joker due to the breadth and diversity that I had to do covering, the Cesar Romero, the Jack Nicholson, the Mark Hamill, the Heath Ledger, covering all of those characters in the span of a very brief amount of time back when we were still ad-libbing the episodes.
Yeah. So I respect
Colossus
what you're saying.
Was just a Russian accent. I mean, is decent Russian accent, I thought, but okay, if fans enjoy, then fans vote for Russian accent.
But I've had other people in that culture say that it was a good accent, which tells me a lot. And that's why it was my pick. But also, I will say, kind of undersold, I thought the Governor was great only because of the Southern twang, which, okay, something about me that people don't know, and I got this from my dad especially, if we're talking to people that have a certain cadence to their speech or a dialect that's not something outside of our range, we tend to pick it up and unintentionally start to try and incorporate it when we're talking to that person. I don't know if it's subconsciously to relate to that person better. Why am I bringing this up? Because when Anthony was doing the Governor's voice, I would start responding, and he said, "You don't do that." Like he made sure, like, don't try and match being Southern. You're not Southern. And I'm like, I swear to God, I'm not doing that intentionally. It's really weird if it's done in a way where I've actually had people ask me sometimes, like, where are you from? Or when we're in the islands, some people say, where you from, boy? Like, New Jersey? Like, it's super weird. But anyway, that's why I don't do voices at all, not intentionally. But Anthony has a great range, and I'm very thankful that he's able to show it off. There are some voices that you'll probably never hear because there's no call for them, but there are some that he is amazing at. So,
well,
yeah,
thank you. I do appreciate that. Your confidence in my ability to impersonate people is very much appreciated. And I thank you kindly. And I appreciate all my fellow Americans for your support and your voting for this 100th episode and all these fine nominees. I appreciate each and every single one of you.
Yep. Good job, Bill.
Thank you. All right, let's last of the questions that we had. This is kind of an interesting one. Who would you consider the most well-adjusted or least amount of mental issues in the Marvel and DC character of, in their respective universes? The most well-adjusted Marvel or DC character.
I kind of hesitate to answer that because I feel like at that point you're starting to try and rank people based on their overall mental health, and I don't like doing that. I'm not going to punt it. Okay, I got to answer it, but I mean, by that definition, though, wouldn't you say like some random person you don't know? Because if they're not coming to the attention of villains or heroes, then that means that they're living a life that didn't warrant that level of intervention. So it's probably someone we don't even know. That's the cop-out answer. So the answer that the person clearly was looking for, I'm going to go really off the wall here, and I know, well, I'm going to go off the waller here. I'm going to say Amanda Waller. I think the amount that she's accomplished in the DC universe, given the circumstances of everything that she's gone through, I'm not saying that she doesn't have things that she has to deal with. She clearly does. And yet, I think she comes across as the type of lady that not only do you not want to mess with, but even if you do try and screw with her, she will gladly give it back in a way that I think is appropriate. And I'm saying that as someone that, depending on how she's cast, can almost be considered a villain, even though she doesn't have villainous intention. So that seems like a really weird thing to say, but just spur of the moment, that's an answer I'm giving. I don't know.
Amanda Waller, I like it. Yeah, that's something that, and again, to Doc's point, I don't want to, again, punt on the question, but I do think you're getting in a bit of a dangerous area to say who's more well-adjusted than another character and stuff, because my thought process is that I would almost say somebody that similar to your point, you're saying somebody that is just sort of living their life. My thing is somebody who is addressing their concerns, somebody who is taking the steps to work with their issues would be somebody that I think would be well adjusted. And so you said a DC, I'll go with Nani Van Dyne, because I think as much as she is diagnosed as bipolar, she is also getting the treatment and she acknowledges all of her problems and she is aware of it and she is working through it. So I think it's a situation where if you address it and sort of confront it and you're working on it, that to me is better than avoidance technique and just saying, oh, well, I'm just going to just go fight crime and punch my way and hopefully that'll make me feel better. And I mean, we've talked about characters that have done just that. I think, was it Jason Todd or Dick Grayson? Yeah. So, that they try and punch their way out of their problems. So I would say, for me, Nani Van Dyne. Janine says Amanda Waller is terrifying. Yeah,
I know. But that's my point. There are plenty of terrifying people in the world that are terrifying because of what they do, regardless of what their mental state is. So
Janine also suggests Mrs. Incredible.
Okay.
Elastigirl? Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing. I think, you know what? That's wonderful. I don't have anything negative to say. That's a great point. I'll admit, I hadn't given that consideration in that realm.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking The Incredibles, and I've said this numerous times, The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie ever made.
Yep.
It's straight up. Yep. Until Marvel Studios gets their shit together and they actually make their version of a Fantastic Four movie, which I'm sure is going to be amazing. But until that time comes, and even then, you've got a high-ass bar to clear because that Incredibles movie it's perfect. It is perfect.
Yeah.
So, Chad also suggests Howard the Duck. And
okay.
Listen, you want to go off the wall? Let's go off the wall. All right, back to the awards then. Favorite dramatic, because we're running out. And I still have a couple things I want to get done before we go to the final episode overall. So favorite dramatic skit. And the nominees are Roy Harper, Carol Danvers, Kingpin, Abe Sapien, and Jason Todd. And the winner is Roy Harper. No real surprise there. We discussed that at length. So that's another win for Roy Harper. Hats off to Roy Harper, as I said numerous times in the episode itself. And then I think we've only got two left, two categories left. Favorite humorous, or no, we did favorite humorous skit. Favorite skit. And the nominees are Deadpool, Kingpin, The Tick, Roy Harper, and Abe Sapien. And favorite skit, the winner is Kingpin.
Which is interesting because you would think if it won favorite skit that it would win in the subcategory with drama. But the thing that I like about that is, and this is definitely behind the curtain stuff. Part of the reason why we do the skits the way we do, at least the way I perceive it, is I want to give a glimpse into what sometimes a therapist or professional may be trying to suppress or think it in their own mind without conveying it to the patient or the client. Because we're humans too, and we have our own responses that we have to regulate at all times. So to make it clear, I would not ever curse out or be like that tough guy with another patient. The Kingpin episode was an example of that. Don't mess with my family. But just the idea that you recognize, hey, a doctor could feel that way too, or a doctor really does think about those sorts of things as well. It gives you just that little peek into what we go through and recognizing that we're not going to always get things 100% right, but we're still doing the best we can. And I want to make sure that we peel that back a bit. I feel like over the years, mental health has made this idea that doctors, not just mental health, I mean healthcare overall, that doctors are this ultimate panacea that's going to fix everything in your life. And the truth is, no, it is a partnership. It may be an uneven partnership, but it's still a partnership between doctor and patient as to what we think is going to work based on the knowledge that we have and the training that we've experienced versus what the person's own individual experience is and how they're going to have to incorporate what we're saying into their lives. Sometimes it's purely a parental situation. If you need surgery or you're going to die, guess what? The doctor's going to run the whole show. But with mental health, it really isn't that way. So yeah, those dramatic things, I think, give a good glimpse into that. And the Kingpin episode specifically does a fantastic job.
Well, I've got nothing more to add to that. So we have one more award left. And before we do that, I want to take the time to thank all of our fans, obviously, each and every single one of our fans, but specifically our patrons, because we started our Patreon with issue 10, the Deadpool episode. And we thought, okay, if we can cover our hosting fees, that'll be great. And then it was, oh, okay, well, if we can get a little bit more, then we'll start live streaming. And if we could do a little bit more, then we'll do trade paperback reviews. And if we could do a little bit more, we'll do more trade paperback reviews. And now it's to the point where, we're looking to do the riff tracks style film commentaries because we are constantly looking to provide you with the extra content and just more and more value for the dollar that all of our patrons have chosen to part with your hard-earned money. This is never like, we're not in this for the money. And we have said this numerous times, and we are so incredibly grateful for every cent that is given to us by our patrons. And so I wanted to take this time to thank each and every single one of the patrons, starting all the way back with Brian, who was patron. Like basically as soon as we announced that we were doing a Patreon, Brian was like, bam, I am there. And, I'm signed up at the highest level. And not only that, it paid for the microphones and the mixer that we're using, because he said your audio quality is shit and you guys are better than what you sound like. And I don't want you to lose listeners because of your audio quality. So thank you to Brian, my mom, Matt, another present level patron and longtime college friend. Matt is responsible for the thematic episodes that you hear every month. Anytime it's not based around a character, but because it's just, an idea that he has about a particular theme or something outlandish there. That's Matt's responsibility. Steve, Ray from Into the Night, Ariel, another one of our present level patrons. Ariel has been with us for a very, very long time. Ariel was the first patron we got that we didn't know personally. Like everybody else was like somebody that we knew or like a friend or a family member. And then all of a sudden I get this email, you've got a present level patron, and it's somebody that we didn't even know. And that was like, holy shit. Like that to me was a sign that we were doing something really, really worthwhile, really valuable. And Ariel every month loves her Bat family. And so anytime there's anybody DC Bat family related, that's an Ariel episode, and we love it. And I say all the time, go follow her on Twitter because she is very, very active on Twitter. I wish you would join our Discord, and she is a member. She is a member of our Discord, but I wish you would join and interact with a little bit more, because I think she's got some really fascinating opinions, and I think it would really spark some good discussion. And then our other present level patron is Ruby, and Ruby Ruby is like one of our super fans, and I love Ruby. I wish I could get to, get out there to meet you, Ruby, because you are like constantly promoting us and, loving everything that we do. I know every time I post stuff, I always get, Ruby likes this, Ruby likes that. Ruby, shares it. She just is like going and spreading the gospel of Capes on the Couch far and wide. And it's so refreshing, to get this kind of engagement from a fan. So we definitely appreciate that very, very much. Jonathan, my cousin Jonathan, thank you, John. Tyler is another one of our mayors. So thank you to Tyler. Frank, who I've done a couple of shows with. So thank you, Frank. Tasha, another one of our mayors. My sister is a mayor. Dan, longtime friend of me and Doc, going back. I've known Dan as long as I've known Doc. Wall, another mayor, a very talented artist. Andrew, Jacob, Kate from Ignorance Was Bliss, Chad from P3 Show, Janine, one of our newest patrons. We just announced, the other episode, and Travis from Podcast Decks, and even all the folks that signed up for Patreon at one point or another. Couldn't continue on for financial reasons or whatever the reason was. Thank you. Again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your patronage. It's because of you that we can keep on doing the show, and we keep coming up with new ideas for ways to bring you value and ways to make the show better. We do it for love.
I got to jump in. I'm sorry. Just thank you to my family. I've seen your reactions, your responses, to some of the episodes. Thank you to my colleagues, nurses, other people in my organization. Thank you to anyone that I've talked to that has given a listen. You're all working hard. And the idea that you would take the time out, in addition to already working in mental health, to listen to someone else talk about mental health and comics and actively support me and support Anthony and everything that we're doing is just an amazing feeling. You didn't have to, and yet you still did. And I know it's mainly because you know just how important it is to get this message out. So to anybody that feels like they're missed, let's just make it clear. You're not.
No, I was just about to say, and to the fans who aren't patrons, but you still download, you still engage with us, you still interact with us during the live shows or just sharing the episodes. Janae, who did a guest voice, on the Monica Rambeau episode, Noor, who was the voice of Kamala Khan, Seth and Andy, like they're in our Discord. They're throwing comments out. They're throwing jokes. Seth is constantly in our Facebook page with memes and stuff. And now we're playing D&D together. So, these are the kinds of things. And that segues then into the next thing that I want to discuss, which is all of the connections that I've made and friends that I've made just doing this podcasting thing. This has introduced us, and it's no disrespect to Doc, but it's more me only because I'm the one who...
None taken, don't worry.
It's only because I'm the one who handles the social media. It has introduced me to a world of people that I would not have otherwise met had I not started podcasting. And just to think about all of the shows that I have guested on and the friends that I've made and the things that we have done, whether it's the Mental Health Avengers, Popcorn Psychology, Pop Psych 101, Guardians MH, Freudian Sips, whether it's, somebody like Kate from Ignorance Was Bliss. I was a guest on her show, Chris from Play Comics, Ray from Into the Night, and getting to do all the stuff about Moon Knight. The fact that there's a whole other Moon Knight podcast that I never would have found had I not started this show, Chad from P3, Chad and Dave from P3, which is, I can't wait to do Monday night show because it's just such a fun community to be involved in. And I feel like I found my people in a certain sense that I get to just interact with. And you're all are weird like me, and I love you all for it. And I say it with love because you know what I mean. Podcasters, we're a bit of an odd bunch. We can be a bit of a odd bird sometimes, but it's fun to do this and to get to interact with folks and just to be on Podcaster Twitter, to be in that space, talking to other shows and just meeting other people. So thank you to the shows that have welcomed us into your fold. And I know we know not every show makes it to 100 episodes. Yeah. So the fact that we've managed to make it this long, over 2.5 years in, 100 episodes, most shows fizzle out well before this.
Yeah. You just touched on something that I'll admit, I'm going to be a little introspective here as I do. So my former college roommate and fellow psychiatrist, shout out to Beerju, he pointed out something that I had not considered before. We were at a gathering, just ourselves, my family and his family. And he said to me, he's like, it was great living with you and it's great knowing you and obviously we're still friends. He said, but listening to your podcast let me delve into your mind in a way that I had never experienced before. You said some things about how you view the world that I don't think I appreciated nearly as much, even just talking to you in person. Because sometimes it seems like you go into like this different way of accessing your brain and getting it out into the world. And his point was, I'm not sure for myself if I had ever been able to do this other than with people that were very close to me. And even when I do it with them, I never know how it's going to come out. So this is going to be something that I know, and I think it explains why my daughter likes listening to the episode so much, even if I don't like hearing the sound of my own voice. This is my potential contribution as a human being to society. And it's not something that I expected this to be in the first place. I'll admit, I am a very eclectic person in terms of my tastes. My style is almost nil when it comes to fashion and everything else that would allow me to ingratiate myself with other people. Anything that people said looked good on me was, I guarantee you, a gift, not something that I picked out for myself. There's so many things that become quote unquote social barriers that I, in all honesty, a lot I intentionally put up for myself. And I think this pierces the veil better than anything else in the world could have. So for those of you, even if you don't personally know me, anything that I've said in any of these episodes is genuinely how I feel. Any of the humor that I used is how I process reality. Anything that I've said that you thought was poignant or insightful, it may or may not have been intentional. But if it helped, I really hope that that's pretty much the point. If it was a hindrance, then I apologize. But it's all me, anything that you've heard. So if that's what you like, then that I appreciate it, because this is, and I know I've said it in previous episodes, but I'm not going to lie. This is an opportunity for therapy for all of us. And I think podcasting in general, which is why I think I gravitated towards it, is a medium that is incredibly pure. You don't get the same inflection when you're writing something. You don't get the same emotion, even if it's like something that's quote unquote scripted. The fact that Anthony and I put in the work to make sure that we are so collaborative, and the fact that we're friends is the number. So, I was going to say this anyway. The ultimate thanks goes to the man who has so many skills, who is truly a polymath in this world. And I don't think, even when sometimes I think it comes across as him being a great catch, does not always get his due. Who has put so much time and effort into this. And I know I've said this to him, and he said something similar to me. And once again, this is definitely piercing the veil. Without him, I don't think my life would have been nearly as worth it. And that's Anthony. Thank you so much for everything that you've done, everything that you continue to do. And this is one of those situations where I did not expect to have any tears on camera, but doggone it, there they are. So, thank you for everything, man. I didn't know when I was going to get it out in this episode, but I knew I was. So, yeah, there you go.
well, thank you. You thanked your family for supporting you through this, and I thank my family. I thank my wife for the patience and the time to let me do this. My son for the inspiration and sort of encouraging me in his own way to, as you say, help contribute to make the world a better place. Thank you to my sister for her input on certain things, my parents for supporting me, and I thank my brother, the man on camera with me, my brother from another mother of another color. But you are no less my sibling than my blood sister, and I can't do this with anybody else. as busy as you get, as sometimes inactive as you are on social media, and as difficult as it is sometimes just from a logistic standpoint to do certain things because of your work schedule, I would never, ever consider doing this show with anybody else, because it wouldn't be true. It wouldn't be real to me. And it wouldn't be nearly as much fun. So thank you, bro, for everything. I love you. And I look forward to the day that we can do this in person again.
Yeah.
Same. So now, before we announce the last award winner for favorite episode overall, I have a special surprise. And I'm going to put the full audio in the episode itself, so it will be clear. But I'm going to play something that I hope will be audible over the microphone and over the airwaves. And I hope is not ridiculously loud, so that it does not wake up my son. But in collaboration with a friend of ours who is musically inclined, I present to you a little tribute song of sort of musical tribute to the past 100 episodes of Capes on the Couch. Anthony Sitko, Greenways 8. Putting it down for the 2-0 double up. You don't even know what's coming. We're going to give it to you hard and fast, because that's how we do Capes on the Couch. Hey, yo. When Doc and I was dreaming about creating a podcast, we never thought in a million years it was going to last. But more than 2.5 years have gone past, and 100 episodes of absolutely fantastic characters, drastic masters and bombastic bastards. As we mix this elastic and sarcastic faster than you could say jump to light speed. But here's a little something that we thought you might need, in case you haven't caught up on all of your downloads. I'm a rapper recap. Are you ready? Here it goes. It all started off with Eddie Brock, Venom. No wonder he's so angry with a symbiote in him. The Doc saved the Joker. We had drink with Tony Stark. And my boy Moon Knight, things got pretty dark. Bad at 6, Quinn and Jones giving men the boot. Russ at you see, and everything is absolute. Deadpool interrupted us with porn and masturbation. Booster hopes one day that he can rise above his station. Tried to break through threes, but the ice is pretty thick. When it comes to Cyclops, Scott is a dick. Legion questions Sentry, they're too crazy for this rap. And Hank Pym wishes everyone could just move past the slap. Casey Jones and Scarecrow like to hide behind the mask, while Jamie Madrox splits it so he handles many tasks. Offense picked the governor, a good on Southern man. And Hanshaw only wishes he could be Superman. Logan needs a break so he can find himself a lover. Molecule Man needs to break away from control by his mother. Stephen Strange should give up magic and go back to surgery. Then we talked about the Hulk with Friend Pie Post psychology. Kingpin threatened Doc, but they ended pretty badly. Mr. Miracle and Bardock clearly love each other madly. Jonah just wants pictures of that man as Spider-Man, and Black Manta wants out of the shadow of Aquaman. Sheep and Negan think the tragedy makes them great, while Doc told Captain America that he should masturbate. Constantine and Talia needed better vocal actors, while Nadia Van Down is accurate on many factors. Callum Cooper and the Riddler think they're really smart. Jen Walters takes being green with envy too in art. Jason Todd and Cletus Cassidy had messed up childhood, so did Ultimate Reed Richards. At least he started off as good. Roy Hoffman made us cry with a story, it's so tragic, and Colossus needs the workings that with hits consistent magic. Bane and terrorism go together hand in glove, but the tick is too ridiculous and silly not to love. Kamala should stop putting heroes up on a pedestal. Shredder's history of failure is really incredible. Dick Grayson does it all and also has the perfect ass, while Laura needs to learn how to interact with some more class. Forgotten Home's a story about learning who you are. Raphael's anger is justified, but he takes it too far. Uatu watches over you and can be pretty creepy. Damien had no childhood, but isn't very weepy. Apocalypse and he's the savior of a mutant kind. Baphomet's development is truly quite divine. The beast is intellectual, but all he does is worry. If Eagle's coming after you, you best leave in a hurry. So that's all of our episodes. This rap has been a frenzy, spitting rhymes for this beat thanks to my buddy Eric Menzie. And last not least, thanks to our fans, especially our patrons. We appreciate you sticking with the show and off your patience. Who knows where the next 100 shows will take us, but I'll vouch that they'll be fun and helpful. That's what makes Capes on the Couch. None of you had any idea this was coming. And it's probably for the best. I put my mixtape up on SoundCloud. So that happened.
Yeah. Whoa.
That was the thing.
That. Yeah, it exists. When the hell did you do that?
I recorded that. Menzie and I have been working on that over the last couple of weeks.
And his ass still couldn't get to poker, huh? Okay.
Oh man. I didn't know how much and how well you could hear it because, like, I'm playing the song through the phone.
Oh, I heard the whole thing. Oh, could definitely hear it, man. Oh, wow.
And it's funny. I have the lyrics somewhere. I originally wrote a line for every episode. And then I realized, first off, I was going to write a couplet for every episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's going to be like an 8-minute song.
Yeah.
And then it became a line for every episode. Mm. And then that was still like a 4.5-minute song. And I was like,
yeah.
I can't, like, no one's going to sit and listen to that. So like I X'd out a whole bunch of the ones that just, I thought the rhyme wasn't that great. And I was just like, I'm just throwing shit together just to see what works. So yeah. So the whole episode, the whole rap is going to be put into the episode. And I'll also post it separately, somewhere as like a bonus, whatever, for y'all to download. Ruby said that was amazing. Andy says, and that's a wrap.
Okay.
So now that we got that out of the way, now it is time for the final category, the final award. And this is favorite episode overall. And the nominees are Nadia Van Dyne, the Jeremy Whitley interview, Magneto and Xavier, Kingpin, Roy Harper, and Mr. Miracle. And the winner is, it's a tie between Mr. Miracle and Magneto and Xavier.
So the honest answer for me is I picked neither one of those. I picked Roy Harper.
As did I.
So, hey, congratulations to both of them. I mean, don't get me wrong; they were beautiful in their own rights. The Mr. Miracle one, I definitely specifically enjoyed, and I remember being the mediator between Xavier and Magneto. But yeah, I think it's just a testament to what we've done. That, and the whole point of this, it doesn't matter what your favorite is. It doesn't matter exactly what bent you prefer. I'm sure we have some of listeners that say like, "Ooh, they're getting a little deep today," or like, "Oh man, they really went more silly than I thought they would." Either way, we've got the full range. So there is something for you to enjoy. There's always going to be a variety. And if at any point we go too far down one path, I think it's just based on our personalities, it's going to end up veering the other way anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm wondering if there are any dark horses or any other episodes that we haven't considered that may have been worthy of nomination. But hey, that's the whole point of having award shows later on when we get to 200. So
yeah,
hey.
I don't know that we'll, maybe we'll do a situation where the nominees have to be shows that didn't win previously, or or there's like a separate category for that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Well, first off, let's see if we can even get to 200 episodes. Because frankly, I mean, not that I'm wishing anything poorly, but I'm pleasantly surprised we made it to 100. So
yeah. Well, I think, and I know it's kind of late to say like what the direction of the show is. I think we're still going to do characters. I would love if we do more interviews. I think an area that we haven't explored as much, with the exception of the mental health Avengers, is the idea of having other healthcare professionals. And I know that's going to lean much more on me, and I'll have to take a bigger lead on that. But now I feel more confident that I can do that because I've talked about it with colleagues that didn't just immediately shoo me away. Because I'll be blunt, when I first started bringing this up, you could tell that they were much more classic academically focused. And when you bring up these topics, they aren't very receptive. So you have to find your audience. You have to find your niche. And I'd much rather be known, and other staff members have said this to me, I'd rather be known as the guy that happens to enjoy what he does as a psychiatrist rather than a psychiatrist that's trying to relate to. There is a distinction. And usually when you're working with someone, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you can tell the difference. This show is clearly for those people that don't want to be intimidated, don't want to have a stuffy person in an empty suit trying to tell them what to do. That's never been my MO. That's why I haven't worn. Yeah, it's why I haven't worn a suit actually at my own job, with the exception of my professional headshot, in several years, because I just don't. I feel like it puts up a barrier. But now that I know other professionals that kind of think this way as well, I'm much more comfortable reaching out. So I think that may be another area that will expand this show so that it has even more episodes. And honestly, no matter what the timeline is for any of this, I'm just glad we've had this ride. Once again, thank you to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no complaints, no regrets whatsoever. If the show ends tomorrow, and which it won't, I'm not saying it will, but if the show ends tomorrow, I can hold my head high and say we did a good job, because we started off wanting to, as we always say, we want to break down the stigma around mental health. We want to discuss mental health in an open and honest way. We want to be real about it. We want to be honest and say it's not easy. It is going to be a struggle at times, but it's worth it. It is so worth it to get these things out in the open. And I will be the first one to tell you, even as the host of the show, to say that my understanding of some of these issues has grown exponentially since we started this discussion, that I have a better understanding of myself and so many of these issues and topics. And I've been forthcoming with my struggles with depression and things of that nature, and my search for a therapist, that I am in a better place now mentally because I do this show. And I hope, and I know, frankly, that we're doing well, because I've heard from listeners. I've heard from fans that say the same thing, that the show helps them in some way. So if for no other reason, I know we're doing the right thing. And that is all the reason that I need to keep doing the show. So, I mean, again, we could go on and on. But frankly, I just got the notice that the room is going to end in 5 minutes, and that the recording is going to stop. So this is going to be, as any good place to end it. So we have no recommended reading. There is no skip. There's no homework for you this week.
Wait, I'm going to go the exact opposite. Read everything. Enjoy everything. Listen to what you can. Every podcast that we've ever experienced. No. I'm being facetious, but just continue to enjoy life. And if you are really struggling with something, just remember, as I have said, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing on the bumpers, you are not alone, and help is out there.
Absolutely. We've got some really great character choices coming up for our patrons who have selected. I don't know the order yet. I think we're going to do probably Two-Face and then Luke Cage. But, we've got a whole host of amazing picks to come up with before we go on hiatus. So stay tuned. There will be more episodes to come. Doc and I just have to actually sit down and figure out what's coming next. But so next week is going to probably be Two-Face, but not 100% certain. So we hope that you'll download it. And you can find all of our episodes on our website, capesonthecouch.live, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Capes on the Couch, our Patreon, patreon.com/capesonthecouch, and our TeePublic store, which is at teepublic.com/user/Capes on the Couch, links in the show notes. Again, thank you to everybody who voted. Thank you to all of the patrons, all the fans who have downloaded our show since we started back in February of 2018, and ever since then, over 30,000 downloads. We're so incredibly grateful to each and every single one of you. Doc, what would you like to say before we leave?
At this point, I'm just overwhelmed with the fact that this exists in its format. 100 episodes of you and I having the type of conversations that I guess needed to be heard.
Amen to that. For a very grateful Doc Issues, I am an incredibly appreciative Anthony Sitko. Thank you for 100 episodes, and we hope to bring you 100 more. We will see you next week.
Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Dr. Issues is a psychiatrist, but he is not your psychiatrist and does not have knowledge of your individual situation. For any personal mental health concerns, please consult your own healthcare providers. For medical emergencies, please call 911 or the designated number in your area immediately. Remember that you are not alone and help is out there.